Good day, YouTube. This is Jay Money with Hollingford Financial. Just a interesting article here. 4 stocks that can turn $100,000 into $500,000 by the time you retire. So thought this one was kind of interesting. Tesla's dominance of the electric vehicle market could send the stock flying again. Twilio and Take-Two Interactive are on track to benefit from secular growth trends. And Checkpoint Software has the potential to step on the gas on recent developments. As you can see, this was just released on the 12th. Just found it kind of interesting. See who out there has these or these 3. I have all 3 of them, so definitely not $100,000 worth, but working towards it. So these companies have immense long-term growth potential. A lot of the stocks that I have, any stock has a long-term growth potential. Probably not 100% of them, but when you look at them and invest into them, that's your hopes and thoughts behind them and dreams that they can take off. But so, for example, a $100,000 investment in the S&P 500 index a decade ago would be worth more than $350,000 now, assuming the dividends were paid out or reinvested, or if you had it set up on DRIP is the easiest way, dividend reinvestment plan, or whatever the P stands for, you know what I'm saying. So. And that's despite the recent slide in the index. So if you're someone who's looking to retire in the next decade with $500,000 and you've got $100,000 to invest right now, the stock market would be a good place to park your funds. But don't take my word for it. Take the article. I don't give tax, legal, or trading advice. But first on the list, I've talked about them numerous times, is Tesla. They've shot up a whopping 11,000% over the past decade, even after the massive slide in its stock price in recent months. And I believe they're still in talks of it splitting next month, so we'll see what happens. I believe the first week, the 4th or the 8th, something like that. But Tesla, a decade ago, or a $10,000 investment a decade ago, would be worth more than $1.1 million right now. Tesla can clock such impressive gains over the next decade as well as the adoption of electric vehicle increases. I mean, they're in EVs, they're in solar, all of that just keeps growing, so I would imagine the stock is just going to reflect that and just keep growing as well. 2021, $53.6 billion worth of EVs were sold across the globe. According to a third-party estimate, by 2030, so roughly 8 to 9 years away, or actually 7 to 8 years away, depending on how you look at it. The EV market is expected to generate $212 billion in revenue, which means that Tesla has a lot of room to grow its revenue. So currently at $700.63, and you can kind of see some of the volatility. It took a dip here to about the 640s. Back in about June 14th, 15th, ran up to 740. Went above 740 here, just within the last couple days, and then came back down. $725 billion market cap, volume of 6.8, average of 31.3. So sometimes there can be quite a bit of volume on this one. So Tesla is already a dominant figure in the global EV market, occupying the top spot. It generated $47 billion in automotive revenue in 2021, an increase of 73% over the prior year. It is worth noting that Tesla's revenue growth was faster than the global EV market's revenue growth of 13%. The company delivered over just 308,000 EVs last year and produced close to 306,000. And both numbers were up 70% over the prior year. Tesla plans to increase its annual vehicle deliveries by an average of 50% in the long run. It is working to enhance its production capacity and develop new models to achieve its ambitious goals. And It is not surprising to see analysts are forecasting 42% annual earnings growth at Tesla for the next 5 years. So investors looking at the stock could help them retire a millionaire. Should take a closer look at this EV play. So next is Twilio, ticker TWLO. I believe I've talked about them once or twice here. Has witnessed a brutal sell-off in 2022. Stock is losing 65%. I have quite a few stocks that have lost 65%, but I'm still holding them. So you don't lose until you sell. So even though it is down, it's still could go up, so I'm continuing to hold it. So but this has happened, has opened a terrific opportunity for investors to buy the fast-growing company at a compelling valuation. After all, Twilio has clocked impressive gains on the market before the sell-off arrived. Company operates the fast-growing cloud communications market. Anything in cloud and communications is got to go up at some point in time in the future. That's just the way of the future. So its solutions help clients communicate more effectively with their customers through various channels such as voice, text, and email. More importantly, Twilio helps its clients move their contact centers into the cloud, allowing them to save costs and build a more agile customer service framework. Here's a look at their compared to the S&P, and you can see how the price change on Twilio here in the purple is just way up above the S&P. Third-party estimates forecast that cloud-based contact center market could grow at an annual rate of 22% through 2027 and generate more than $56 billion in revenue. Twilio's 38% share of this rapidly growing market means that it is in a nice position to sustain its terrific growth. Twilio forecasts a revenue growth of 37% in the second quarter of 2022. Analysts are expecting 36% top-line growth from the company this year, while its bottom line is expected to increase at a compared annual rate of 155% over the next 5 years. Analysts are expecting such rapid growth from Twilio. All of this indicates Twilio could turn out to be a top cloud stock in the long run and multiply investors' wealth substantially, as it has done in the past. Twilio is trading at 5 times sales, which is a big discount to the 5-year average sales multiple of 16.8. Next is Take-Two Interactive Software, TTWO. They've had a terrific investment over the past decade, gaining over 1,200%. So they would have multiplied investors' wealth 13 times. It won't be surprising to see the company sustain such momentum in the future as well, thanks to the growing demand for video games and potential increase in the number of gamers. I have some of this in a M1 Finance. I don't have much of this one. I don't know, the way I look at the economy, I mean, that might bring gamers in. It might cut back on gamers in regards to they can't afford it. But obviously the stock is growing, as you can see. So I don't know, that's just my point of view. But each to his own. So, but here's a chart. Dipped down below 122, ran up above to 133 or 34. Slid back down. It's just been kind of up and down, currently at 119.92 with a $19 billion market cap. Number of video games is expected to jump to 4 billion by 2030 for an estimated 3 billion last year, according to third-party estimates. As a result, the spending on video games, which stood at 176 billion last year, should increase at a healthy pace over the coming decade, according to one estimate. Video game sales could exceed 452 billion by 2030. So there you have the info in regards to this one growing. So But the company owns some of the most popular gaming franchises, such as Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, Max Payne, and Mafia, among others. Take-Two has a total of 12 franchises that have sold over 5 million units, with the likes of Grand Theft Auto series selling over 375 million copies. So it's in a solid position to take advantage of the secular growth as it publishes games across consoles, personal computers, and mobile phones. Company owns some of the most popular video game franchises as Grand Theft Auto, and so on, just as we mentioned. 12 franchises with over 5 million units. More importantly, Take-Two has bolstered its position in the video game space with the acquisition of mobile gaming company Zynga for $12.7 billion. This should bolster the company's position in a market that reportedly generated $131 billion in bookings last year alone. Not surprisingly, analysts expect Take-Two's growth to take off. So there you have it. So here's a look at Take-Two Interactive for next fiscal year, and the purple is the current, so it's looking to grow, of course. So but it can sustain such growth thanks to the opportunity in the video gaming market and its latest acquisition, which is why Take-Two could turn out to be the top growth stock for investors looking to retire in the next decade. So I think we'd all like to retire in the next decade, so depending on what your age is. But cybersecurity specialist Checkpoint Software Technologies stock has underperformed the broader market over the past decade, rising only 160%. However, the company is doing well this year. Ticker CHKP. Checkpoint stock is up 7% in 2022. While that may not be much, the stock has defied the broad market sell-off in the year. An attractive valuation and strength of its recent earnings reports. It won't be surprisingly that the Checkpoint stock outperformed the market in the long run as the demand for cybersecurity offerings is increased. And here's a look at their chart, currently at $120.89, market cap of $16 billion. And it looks like they're anywhere from about 121, dropped to about 117, just kind of up, had a nice run to 124, and up to about 127, and down, so currently at 120.89. Evident that the company's results for the first quarter of 2022, while its revenue had increased 7% year over year, is $543 million. Deferred revenue was up 14% over the prior year period to $1.67 billion. Deferred revenue is the money collected in advance by Checkpoint for services that will be provided later. So for faster growth in this metrics, it's evidence that the demand for a Checkpoint solution is picking up. Improved demand is also evident from the 20% increase in Checkpoint's remaining performance obligations last quarter. Metric represents the total of deferred revenue and the bookings that haven't been invoiced yet. So Checkpoint could step on the gas in the future, beat the broader market, and deliver healthy returns. That's why investors looking to take advantage of the secular growth of the cybersecurity. Again, another great thing to look at for the future is a cybersecurity market. May want to take a closer look at this stock. So, but there you have it. Checkpoint CHKP. If you have any of these, go ahead and list it in the comments. Take-Two, TTWO. Twilio, TWLO. And so lots of T's. Kind of funny in Tesla, TSLA. But if you have any of these or all of them, go ahead and list that in the comments, and if there's any other stocks out there you want me to take a look at and make a video, I'd be happy to do that as well. And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, go ahead and hit that for me, as well as subscribing, and hit the bell so you're notified of when the next videos drop. Again, this is J Money, Falling Forward Financial, Happy trading, happy investing, stay green. Cheers.